Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Try This at Work Teams in 30. My name is Kelly Cleland. I am a Customer Success Manager with Microsoft and a Try This at Work leader. I'm really excited. We've taken a break for a couple of months, but we're now back and we have double-decker events planned throughout the month of June. So if you haven't checked out the Try This at Work website, please do so to see what those upcoming events contain. So we have some really exciting and fun sessions planned, starting with today's. So first we're going to be covering feature goodies. So, what's new out in Microsoft Teams that you should be leveraging. And then also I want to briefly talk about what's coming up and what is on the roadmap, just to make sure we've got so much. There's been heavy development due to COVID. Really the developers are always, working to streamline their development and meet the demands of our customers. But there is just so much that is packed into the month of June and also the beginning of our first quarter in July. So just expect a lot more features to come your way. From 12:30 to 1 p.m., I will also be covering a new way to recruit top talent. I'm super excited about this session as we've been talking to customers about essentially how they can utilize their current stack without purchasing anything new for a new way of recruiting in this day and age. So 2 really great sessions. So I hope you hang on for the full hour. If not, just know that these sessions will be posted on demand. Just a quick announcement, some housekeeping before I actually get started. Just for the sake of meeting compliance within Microsoft, I just want to make sure to announce, so these are public live events that are streamed through Microsoft Teams. So we do actually capture, for those of you who are authenticating through Microsoft Teams, we do have your email. But the one thing I want to let you know is that we in no way, shape, or form capture that. If you're anonymous, nothing comes through. We don't know who you are, where you're coming from. But if you are authenticating, we do happen to have your email, but I in no way, shape, or form pull that data down, look at that data. These are meant to be informational and not meant to be used for any purposes other than that. So just know that your information will not be shared at any point in time. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, give me just a second here. Okay. So let me minimize this. Where I want to start here is inside of Microsoft Teams. So there's been a lot that's been released lately. I don't know if you all looked at the end of May update that was pushed out. It was just pushed out the very end of May, I think on like the 29th. But I want to cover some of those items. So one thing I think that a lot of customers have been asking for is the ability to pin apps. So you now have that ability. So when, from a user perspective, right, we want to ensure that all users are leveraging Teams in a way that facilitates their day-to-day. And so one of the big asks that we had is the ability to be able to pin apps that we care about. And now that feature is actually out there. So you can see here, I just went into my little ellipse to find more apps and my 3 little dots. And you can see here that I now have a pin option. And then even from, those apps that I'm actually pinning, I have the option to unpin those apps as well. So really helpful from an end user standpoint to be able to pin and unpin apps, right? Our jobs change all the time and we need quick access to those apps and the information, that facilitates our day-to-day and how we get things done. So really having those at your fingertips and in that left-hand navigation really helps to streamline daily activities. So really excited about that release. In addition to that, I'm just going to click on my chat here, and yes, you can clearly see that this is me. I'm actually logged in as myself here. But what I wanted to show you is I started pinging Robin this morning, and I just said, ignore this. But what I wanted to show you, and actually, I need to give me a second. I actually need to come back in here in my app and show you. All right, so now inside of the Microsoft Teams app, one thing that I wanted to show you is the pop-out chat. So pop-outs have been something that have been requested by so many customers, and really excited that this is now available so you can actually see what this looks like. It allows me to be productive. I'm facilitating this live event, as you can see on my screen. And I'm also able to essentially multitask, but in maybe a very productive way. And you know, the common use cases on this for when I'm leveraging this is when, you know, in the context of what's happening, maybe when I'm having a meeting and maybe there's a question that needs to be immediately addressed, you know, in order to keep me productive, it's nice to be able to pop this out, especially because I'm getting a little older, my eyesight's a little worse. So it's nice to be able to pop this out and have a separate stream going while still paying attention to other things. On that note, just know from a pop-out perspective, some of the things that are coming soon, it's also going to be, there's going to be pop-out apps, there's going to be pop-out channels and pop-out tabs. So across the board, again, we're really listening to you customers, so continue to have the feedback coming into user voice, because that's really what this is all about. It's about what you're asking for. And what we want to make you more productive and more collaborative, and these are just some of the ways that we're doing it. One of the other items that you'll see here that's very new from the May announcement is bookings. So bookings is a way for you to essentially create appointments. And the best way, I'm actually going to be talking about bookings even more during the next session. So if you can hang on for the full hour, you will see very creative ways for how to leverage it in just the case of the virtual career fairs and recruiting. But from a bookings perspective, essentially what this allows you to do is have, so based off of your team members, so I have some of my other customer success managers that granted me access to schedule them for the case of this demo. But basically what it allows you to do is essentially to create bookings on their calendar. So maybe from a control standpoint, you want to be able to facilitate, so we will pretend maybe these are retail employees. And so as a manager, as I'm taking calls to schedule styling appointments, I can actually create bookings right on our calendar that everybody's going to see. And that's also going to push on each of the individuals' calendars. So that's a really great way to use bookings. I'm actually going to show you how that extends even further. But the nice thing is that from a bookings calendar perspective, right, it's on local calendars, it's in the booking calendars. And the way that this has been used or leveraged, I would say the most, especially around COVID right now, is that a lot of the virtual consultings for healthcare have been facilitated through Teams. I've actually had a number of my friends and family reach out to me for their online virtual doctor's appointments. And they were like, hey, this is amazing. It was actually using Teams. So a lot of healthcare customers are using bookings to facilitate that, but I have a lot of other customers that are leveraging it in very, very cool ways. You know, one of them that I know about is in retail, essentially to facilitate appointments actually for in-store appointments. So that way they're controlling flow of traffic inside of the store. Others are using it as a reservation system for customers and for guests, again, to control people flow. And I'm actually going to be talking about that at one of our upcoming sessions. So again, lots of different ways that you can use bookings, and I really want to show you more about that, but I don't want to harp on it for too long so we can get to some of the other items here. So inside of Teams, I am going to flip back here. All right, so now inside of Teams itself, I want to talk about meetings for a minute. So a lot of customers have been asking for more controls around meetings, right? So who has the ability to present, you know, for on individual meetings, who can bypass the lobby, really more so control around those meetings. So you can see here, like if I actually go to my calendar, I'll show you how I got there. So here is this meeting right here. Oh, actually, I already have it up. Here's this meeting right here. So this is a CSM peer sync that we have going on. So it's with my fellow peers. We have it every Friday. It's actually coming up here at 1 o'clock. And inside of here, and even inside of your actual meeting invite itself, what you can do is inside of your calendar, you will see an actual link that says meeting options in the actual meeting invite. And what that's going to do is basically it's going to take you to this meeting options. And these meeting options per meeting, you're going to be able to define essentially how you want people joining the meeting, if you want announcements of callers, if you're going to let them bypass the lobby, and essentially who can present. So if you want to say, listen, I only want to give myself the ability to present. I don't want anyone trying to take over control. Essentially, you get prompted with a message when that happens, but just to alleviate that annoyance, you can limit actually who can present and then who's going to be considered an attendee. So that's really nice, and it's just a simple save, which is really nice. And then you're setting each of your meetings. Now, inside of your meeting itself, I don't actually have any attendees here, of course, because I'm meeting with myself right now, but just a few of the enhancements that I wanted to show you here. So first off is that we have had lots of requests for engagement features. And I will tell you that there are a lot more engagement features coming. So just know that heavy development is underway, both from a meetings and from a live events perspective. But what's been released is one of the #1 requests was for the raise your hand feature. So that is in Microsoft Teams meetings currently. So a user has the ability to basically raise their hand, and then the organizer is going to be able to see here. So you can see that my hand was raised. Of course, I'm the organizer. But that way, it's a visual indication somebody has a question. If it's a more controlled meeting, it's just a way to help facilitate that control. And then, of course, I can lower my hand once my question has been answered. So that's a really great way, again, just to facilitate discussion without folks talking over each other. In addition to that, and unfortunately, because I'm facilitating a live event and I'm trying to demo to you inside of a browser, I'm not actually going to be able to show you what this actually looks like, but I'm going to talk you through this really quick. Another big request from all of my customers, and even when it came out, I had lots of questions about how do you do this in live events and in Teams meetings, is about system audio. So what is system audio? System audio allows you, if you have a YouTube video, if you have some type of video or audio embedded in a PowerPoint deck, whatever the case may be, if there's something from a visual, or not a visual standpoint, but an audio standpoint that's embedded in some type of visual that you have, you want to be able to push that audio with your visual. And the way that you do that, and again, because I'm in the browser, it's not here, it's actually in the app itself, but I'm presenting a live event, so I can't show you. But I'm going to tell you exactly where it's at. When you click the share tray here, where it's going to be is right above the screen share. There's going to be a little checkbox that says system audio. You want to make sure that you check that box before you share anything. That way you ensure that you are going to push the audio with whatever you're presenting. So again, that's just a little checkbox under your share tray, and it's going to be right here in the my share tray menu down at the bottom here. It's going to be a little checkbox that says system audio. So that's been huge. Again, very easy. Same thing in Microsoft Live events. Again, I can't show you that because I'll stop sharing if I do it. But again, very easy to find, very easy to use, and works really, really well. Okay. So another couple things with meetings, again, lots of updates with meetings lately, which has been fantastic. Another big feature that customers have been requesting is the ability to download an attendee list. So inside of meetings, customers have been asking, listen, we need to be able to track attendance. Yeah, it's great that it's in live events, but we need to be able to track it for our meetings for compliance reasons, or just for validation. So maybe there's smaller trainings, for example, is a lot of the cases of some of my customers. How you do that is you just go to the participants, right? So that's all that I clicked. And then you have the ability to download that attendee list. So that way it's going to pull all the information about those individuals that are in the meeting. So just know, again, there's some additional enhancements that are coming around that from an engagement standpoint later, but again, we're not there yet, but know that your attendee list is available to you. In addition, right, you can also manage permissions. Again, it's just taking you back to your meeting options. So again, if you need to modify those on the fly, just know again that you can do that from the participants. Lastly, and again, I'm inside of my browser, so I can't show this to you here. But and I'm on a live event. So backgrounds in regards to the extended capabilities from mobile browser, live event, all that perspective, that again, something that's coming. I can't show this to you, but basically when you join an event, you have the ability now to add backgrounds. I think for the most part, I think everyone was so excited about that when it came out, people figured out how to do that. But basically, if you go into your three little dots to your lips here, you'll actually see the option for enabling your video and turning on your backgrounds. There's preloaded backgrounds that are going to be available to you, but then you also actually have the option to do blur still or no background, or you have the option of actually uploading your own. Just a note on uploading your own, you want to make sure that it is a high resolution background, of course, to make sure that you don't have this weird, funky, blurred, pixelated backgrounds that you're presenting, or else it'll just look weird. Lots of backgrounds that are out there now. It's been so popular lately. I have some amazing backgrounds that I just literally went and searched and downloaded, made sure they were high resolution, and they're ones that I've been using quite a bit. Okay, the other option here, and just because I've got no one in my meeting here, but you have the ability to end the meeting for all participants. So again, it'll just automatically kick everyone out of the meeting. It'll shut it down for everyone, which is really, really great. So you don't have any individuals that maybe are lingering on your meeting. You're just completely shutting it down. All right, so with that, I'm gonna hang up here. All right, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you is, okay, so from a Teams perspective, I'm going to show you one of my, this is actually planned again for another one of my events. But what I wanted to show you here is that you have the ability now to go into Manage Channel. Oops, I think I accidentally didn't click. And you're going to see a couple things here. So I don't know if anybody is keeping track of the roadmap and what development features get released when. But I feel like, especially because of COVID, and especially on the education side of things, lots of questions around being able to set channel moderation. So that is available. So you just saw here, all I did was click on my channel here, and I went to Manage Channel again. And now inside of here, I have channel settings, and I'm going to get to analytics in a minute because that's also new. So in the permissions for this particular channel, and you can't do it on the general channel, but you can do it, or private, but you can do it on every other channel, you have the ability to set your channel moderation preferences. So here under channel moderation, it's off right now, but I could turn this on specifically for this June Virtual Career Fair channel. You can specify who the moderators are, and you can also specify what the permissions are. So what is it that the team members are going to be allowed to do? So it's really, really nice if you need to have a little bit more control over what's being posted and you want to eliminate chatter inside of a channel. Channel moderation keeps it clean. So it makes it really, really nice for really important information that needs to be very controlled. And this is the way that you are going to do that. I'm just going to turn that back off. Okay, and even here you can see on who can start a new post, everyone except guests. So if you're inviting guests into your team as well, but you want to, again, limit their permissions, not only can you modify channel setting permissions for guests, but just keep in mind overall for the team, you have the ability to modify those permissions for guests and members both. The other new item I wanted to show you is analytics. So this is a little team site that I set up for the purposes of try this at work. So there's not a whole lot of analytics here per se. But the one thing that I wanted to show you is that now channel analytics are available. So before we had the team analytics, right, that's been around, but now we can actually drill down into the individual channels. So what are those channels within our team that are really getting the heavy traffic? Where is there the heaviest engagement? And now we have the ability to drill down into those channel metrics to be able to see that level of data. So again, here you'll see on the filters, it just goes back last 7, 30, 90 days. But again, it's fantastic to be able to drill down where we were not able to drill down before. Okay, so another thing that was released, but unfortunately I can't show you because we don't actually have it set up in our tenant specifically, but there's now the ability to set up Teams templates. And we have Teams templates essentially for information out there that tells you how to set up for specific industries. So whether it's education or retail or healthcare, there's actually templates, based off of the most common setups that you're actually able to push out there. So when someone's creating a new team, from down here, when they go to create a new team, a from scratch team, they're actually going to see, if you deploy these templates, they're going to see options. Of course, you can also create your own templates as well and push those out. And I highly encourage the use of templates because it makes it so much easier for your end users to not have to reinvent the wheel every time. Now, the savvy ones, of course, know that if they, for example, in PMOs, right, they tend to have when they're managing projects, which teams get used for a lot, they tend to have a similar setup in terms of how they're structuring their teams and their channels. So they can literally go, hey, I need to create a new project team, and I want the same setup as this past project that I'm still a part of. But having a from scratch template, for example, I have customers that have first line workers out in the field. They have, brick and mortar locations all over the globe. And they, for that line of business, want to create consistency in terms of each of their branches, how those teams are structured. So as they're talking from branch to branch, there's a level of consistency from a foundational standpoint. So if you have not looked at templates, highly encourage you to do that and create a structure, because that structure is also going to help facilitate, again, that consistency across teams and how they're communicating and collaborating. And it's really going to help streamline. Every customer I know that's implemented templates, it's been extremely positive feedback. Couple of other updates as well. And one thing that I wanted to mention, first of all, before I go into what's upcoming, so Teams templates, I also wanted to call out a couple more things. So there's also a PowerShell out there for creating people manager teams. So again, when we talk about streamlining and you talk about those that are in the field, being able to create those people manager teams, so those managers are able to facilitate their teams, create shifts for them, really automate that all through PowerShell is extremely powerful. It makes it so much easier for IT, and it's just a run of PowerShell. In addition to that, from a development side of things that was recently announced, low-code bots, granular permissions for teams via the Graph API, and then a huge one is the Azure Active Directory SSO tabs. So I know just from talking with my customers in terms of, we don't have every app inside of our apps here, we know that we have so many apps, but we know that we don't have every app. So the way that you get around that is basically inside of your team, you're creating a tab inside of your channel, whatever the case may be. And what we're telling our customers, so, hey, if you have a portal that you have access to every day, there's not an app out there for that. What we basically tell them is to basically set up a website and just plug it in there. And then they can just authenticate and have access to that. Well, now making it even easier, being able to do the Azure Active Directory SSO authentication, a one and done type thing, making it a whole lot easier. So just know that's available out there. So again, do a Bing search that basically is for the Microsoft Teams developer updates, and you'll see the latest and greatest there. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about this roadmap. So I only have about 6 minutes remaining, and we have some really good stuff out here. If you all have not taken a look at the roadmap lately, I highly encourage you to do so, because what you will notice is here, I'm just going to scroll super fast. See all this June CY20, calendar year 20. So look, I'm on page 3, which means 1, 2, They're all June. And it is amazing what is getting ready to be released. Our product team is going at record speed in terms of, what's in development and also what's rolling out currently. So just some honorable mentions here. First of all, feel free to download, share this. As you can see here, it'll download an Excel file, so you can filter and sort on basically specifically what it is you're looking for. Of course, you can also search as well. I reference the roadmap even myself all the time. I have discussions with the product group, but just in terms of release dates and what's being communicated to our customers and the details that are being pushed out there, tends to be as we're getting close to these items, blog posts tend to get released. That's when we also start announcing the updates and doing the videos. So keep your eye out on those. But some honorable mentions, at least just in my opinion, of what some amazing, amazing things that are getting ready to roll out. Pinned posts. So you actually are going to be able to now pin some of your posts inside of Teams. So being able to surface it. You're like, great, Kelly, that's fantastic. Why would I use that? Well, when you think about it, pinning a post, if there's a welcome message or if you have some type of onboarding team, why would you not want to pin that, right? Get it up at the forefront. It's information that's important. You want to be able to pin it and you want it to be able to stay static and stay up there instead of getting lost in just a slew of chat threads that are going on, right? Because we're also active on our teams. We talk a lot. We're communicating, collaborating a lot. In addition to that, I think everyone will be excited to know we're bumping up the meeting support to 300 participants. That's been a common ask as well. Already, just, everyone knows, I think, from a live event perspective as well, that was bumped up as well, just in terms of COVID and everyone working from home. Contextual search. I am a fan of contextual search. If you don't know what that is, it's doing the Control F. So actually being able to, inside of Teams, hit Control F and be able to find what I need. I mean, yes, you can go to the search inside of Teams, and that's fantastic. But, why not just be able to hit Control F and be able to search for exactly what I want inside of my channel or inside of my Teams? In addition to that, we've got mobile translation, and that is for iOS and Android. So I think you all probably know by now. If you don't, this is an amazing feature. I don't have anything posted in here in Spanish, but or another language. Spanish is about all I can type out in perfect honesty. But what I wanted to tell you is that what's amazing about Microsoft Teams is the ability to be able to translate. And there's I want to say like 56 languages. I might be slightly wrong on that, but I think it's 56 languages. And basically Microsoft Teams has the ability in here, not only of course, does it recognize a user's local language, but if I'm communicating with someone, right, that only knows, Brazilian Portuguese, and I'm typing in English, they're going to be able to hit translate and translate this into their local language so they can understand what I'm saying. That now is going to translate to the mobile apps in both iOS and Android. In addition to that, there is Power Automate triggers. And if you all are not familiar with Power Apps and Flow and the whole Power Platform, I highly encourage you to go out and take a look at it, because I really think that in terms of streamlining productivity and just making things a whole lot easier as everyone's getting accustomed to Teams, these Power Automate triggers and these Power Apps are literally going to be lifesavers in terms of how we're getting to information quickly. It's only going to continue to streamline. So Power Automate triggers. So for example, on this, what does that mean, Kelly? Well, it means that essentially you could build out flows directly from within Teams. So like an example of this that's highlighted out there is maybe when somebody's new and they join the company and they join a team, for example, like maybe it's the onboarding team, it'll automatically trigger a welcome message for them or trigger onboarding guidance. So again, just really powerful ways to push the engagement and get individuals the information they need a lot faster. So just think about that, streamlining onboarding alone and not having to, push individualized messages or keep it generic. There's ways for you to actually target. Task, of course, I'm not going to talk about tasks too much because I feel like those have been talked about a lot, but just know that those are coming. We know that's high on the list from an individual and a team perspective. That is something that's still planned. Multi-window meetings and calls. So again, as we talked about, breaking out the pop-out chats, now we've got multi-window meetings and calls, which is amazing as well. Also supporting multiple teams and shifts was a big ask. Need to wrap up here. Batch policy and group assignments. So FYI, IT folks, right, you right there know how powerful that one is. Instead of assigning policies to assigning policies to individuals, it's now via batch assignments, which is amazing. There's also suggested replies, adding in distribution groups and modern groups to meetings, huge. Even I have gotten frustrated with that one. So see, again, development is just amazing. And then of course, there's going to be a new file sharing experience. So being able to actually within Teams drill down into the permissions for files. Again, another huge ask from customers. Okay, so with that, we are at 12:31.